The mass is your message. Your pain is your purpose. Your complaint is your calling. Who you are isn't just what you eat, it's what you breathe. I'm building a sanctuary while most other people that have been doing this for years are still building mortuaries. Housing has always been expensive for everybody, all the time. There's 4 layers of your home that you need to control: the air, the water, the vapor, and the thermal.
Welcome back, guys, to the Dr. Mo Show. I am hanging out today with David Auerbach from PLH Exclusives, and we were actually just talking about being patient and waiting for things to happen. So we are going to start on that note because we had a little software glitch. And then without me doing anything, lo and behold, it fixed itself. So that was a pretty good lesson. So we'll take that one into the rest of Tuesday. So David, tell us a little bit about what you do, what happened in your life to cause a shift, and how you changed.
All right, well, I'll just kind of give an overview and then maybe we can dive in a little bit deeper if we need to. So, long story, kind of short, I grew up farming in the Midwest. I live currently in central Illinois. So, my family's been farming their whole lives as well. My grandparents' father come from Norway and come here actually to Norway, Illinois, become a potato farmer. And that's where my grandpa started into farming. My dad started into farming. And since I was 11, technically I was getting paid to do not just chores, but actually help on the farm, right? So I got a big background in farming corn and soybeans and cattle and things like that. So that's where I kind of started. I went to school and I have an environmental biology degree, bachelor's of science, environmental biology. And after getting that job, I kind of felt like I was working for people that were having the things in my life that I knew that I was never going to get by just working for them. So it just wasn't necessarily my passion. And it kind of the tipping point was I lost my license going to church one day on my sport bike, going a little faster than most people go while they're racing. And I kind of lost my job, moved back home, and started farming again with my dad, and kind of fell in love with someone I knew for a long time. We started to start a life together, and we thought, hey, do I want to build a house on some family ground? And I asked if she ever wanted to build a log home. And she's like, actually, I always kind of wanted a log home. I'm like, well, great, because I kind of want to build one. So yeah, from there, we started just kind of planning and figuring out. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to pretty much have to do this all myself. Built, GC'd, and did almost all the interior finishing and a lot of the exterior finishing on my own log home. The company asked me to be a rep. And from there, we actually had like people from South Korea come and tour the house because it was just coincidentally like the exact version that they wanted. That led into people wanting to have me build the house that I was trying to sell them the package of. And I started my business at 16, farmed about the same time until I got to the point where, I was like, okay, my dad's nearing retirement, right? Do I want to just let him let go, which is really hard, right? Because your family farmed for a long time, and I was the last son that was going to take it over. And I felt like it was a good stress relief for him to not have to feel like he's got to hold on to this and have it for something to kind of pass down, right? And from there, I did 100% in log home construction, restorations, and all that. So what really happened when really made my shift into what I feel God's called me to do, is always like what's Dan always say, the mess is your message, right? Your pain is your purpose, your complaint is your calling, right? So all those together, I've really struggled with exactly what I've been wanting to do for my life because I felt like I can do a lot, right? And you probably have people because in your life there's a lot of doctors and everything. They just really feel like they want to make a difference. And what area should I be in? You know what I mean? So my wife has kind of had some health problems. Primarily, it's just kind of like a hormone imbalance thing, and just a little bit above, just the typical women having hormone stuff. And last couple years has, I guess, been the straw that broke the camel's back type deal. And there's just so much going on that was like, let's just get tested for mold. And it come back, and I got some of the paperwork too. And she was just off the charts, and like so many of the mycotoxins, a lot of which were estrogen mimickers and hormone imbalance stuff, which a lot of the mycotoxins do, and mold does that to you. And so this whole last year, I'm like, you know what? I feel like I know there's a huge need for me to do log home stuff in this area because I'm about the only one in Illinois. But I've pretty much switched my whole business around making sure that people just don't have to go through what we've had to go through. And my sole focus now is to build healthy, high performance homes that enhance people's lives. And knowing that how much time do people spend indoors? We kind of knew this during COVID, but how much time do people spend indoors now?
Yeah. Well, and that's to have it be a safe space to be, right? Not only an emotionally safe space and a mentally safe space, but when you look at our basic needs as humans, that safe space is health. If
Yeah,
that and that's the foundation. We can't do any of this higher level development or business development or thought development or mindset if you can't breathe. The
yeah,
first thing you have to do is take a breath.
yeah,
The
yeah.
rest is gravy.
Who you are isn't just what you eat, it's what you breathe. Because what you
Yes.
eat can be expelled out as waste, but what you breathe goes right to your blood.
Well, exactly. And it's what you take in. That's why even common sense as it is now with smoking, right? We know that inhaling 1,400 cancer-causing chemicals is not good for you. Funny
Right,
that. But it's deposited. Those molecules are deposited instantaneously, nearly instantaneously into your cells, right? When
right,
it goes through your digestive system, they get deposited in your cells. That's what you're building your life with. So you're building homes that help people build lives in a way that they give it good, solid materials to build with, just like you're building your body. There's no difference.
right. Yep. I call it, I don't know if it's a term or something, but I say I'm building a sanctuary while most other people that have been doing this for years are still building mortuaries
Oof,
because
that's good.
times have changed and build science is progressing. And just because you've been building for 30 years, know, 2008 was a big shift, and if you've been doing the same thing before 2008 as you're doing right now, you're literally putting people at risk of their health and financially because insurance companies don't even carry mold insurance anymore. It's a rider that's like insanely expensive, like another 2 grand a month.
Yep. Yep. Well, it's like hurricane insurance. We have a
Yeah.
condo that got hit, and I'm an insurance kind of gal. That's how I roll.
Hmm.
And at the time, they're like, "Do you want wind and hail insurance?" And I'm like,
Hmm.
"Yes, I'm on the coast of Florida. I would like wind insurance. Thank you very much."
Yeah.
And it paid off. It absolutely paid off within the year. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're so unlucky. Your condo got hit by a hurricane." And I said, "Well, it's on the coast of Florida. I kind of expected it eventually."
Yeah.
We and I was prepared. We were insured, and we lost no money. So build it right from day one, or from your day one, right? Because I didn't build this building, but I could reinforce my life such that I was protected against the inevitability of problems. Life is going to have
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, and you could build a hurricane-proof house, but in your lifetime, you probably wouldn't be able to compensate for the extra rider of your insurance
Right.
to pay for a total hurricane-proof house. And
And Mother
yeah,
Nature would still laugh and say, "Watch this."
we're in a constant state of entropy, right? Everything's breaking down. That's why, life is
That's in
like a
my book.
downhill, yeah, downhill escalator, right? You can't just stop in the middle because you're just gonna go down. You got to keep at least taking another step.
Pushing the ball up the hill,
Yeah.
and we talk about Dan Martell. This is where we met, is in Dan Martell's coaching group, for those
Yeah,
of you
yeah,
listening.
yeah.
And so when we say Dan, it's Dan Martell, author of that book, which I keep that there, literally looking over my shoulder. Because if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, the Buy Back Your Time book by Dan Martell is looking over my shoulder, not because it's a great book. Don't get me wrong. I've read it multiple times. It's more like a user's manual.
Yeah, textbook.
But it reminds me that I cannot do everything myself and that I have to have a team.
Hmm.
And people recover and people succeed in community. And like we were talking about earlier, that we met in Dan's community and building communities. And I really think that that is the way that we are going to, as a society, move into this different state that, and I'm not talking Illinois, the different state that we
Do
are
it.
going to be required to move to. We can't do it alone.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of, so we've been going through a lot of holistic stuff with with Jen's, you know, mold toxicity problems. And we've just been meeting a lot of different people, and I'm meeting a lot of people. I've gone through a lot of seminars, build science seminars, and it's not just about building healthy homes and healthy lives and everything, but it's the whole spectrum, right? What is, and Dan talks about this a little bit too, like what is it to be rich, right? What is it to be wealthy or successful? It's not just financially, but it's having a sound mind, a healthy body. But you got to have community, and there's one holistic doctor that was just kind of chiming through a bunch of stuff, just like, have you seen the sun today?
Yep.
Have you been around other people? Because you could just get down in your own funk and just kind of stay there, but you need some people to bring you out of it. You need some people to challenge you to be better. And yeah, so I'm constantly, that's one thing about me and my wife Jen. She gives me crap all the time. I'm always trying to learn something. I'm always trying to figure something out, and a lot of times I can't go to sleep because of it. But she's like, "Oh, you can just watch YouTube and just figure out what they're doing." And I'm like, "Well, anybody could just watch YouTube." She's like, "Yeah, but nobody can freaking learn what you're learning from just these people watching these people do this." And I love how I feel like I've really come to know my calling, with as much as it sucks to go through uh, this with Jen. I feel like it's really propelled me into helping know, because I've been through the struggle, right? I can see what people can go through before they go through it, and I can help people avoid that through the best thing that I'm doing, and that's building houses.
And that is such a gift because that's a true calling. You didn't fall into this. I mean, your family, like you said, your family had a long farming history. This is an organic journey.
Yeah.
To not use the farming metaphor, but it
Yeah,
is
I
an
gotta.
organic journey. I mean, you were pushed to this.
Yeah, I mean, financially, because I didn't really want to pay what it would cost to pay someone else to do what I was doing to build my house, right? And that led me to be the rep for the company. That led me to start my business for other people. So it's, the way I see it is, if God opens a door for you, for one, why not walk through it and know also that no one else is going to shut that door except him. So have the faith to just kind of walk through it and know that it's going to be painful sometimes and do it anyway.
And that faith is no joke. It is no joke. It is a choose your own adventure. I mean, the
Hmm.
door is open and so many people don't choose to walk through that door. Or, we take our problems back. We step back. Oh no, it's easier just to do this. It's just, it's falling back down the hill, like you said, with the entropy, with the entropy example. And I do, it's funny. So nobody uses that. And I used it in my book, and I was like, oh,
Great. Like minds, right?
I know, right? And because I mean, the thing is, we are always we will slide down that hill unless you put in the
Hmm.
intention and the attention on moving forward. The 100% clarity, 100% belief, 100% of the time in knowing what your calling is and where you are going. And once you have that, it is your responsibility to chase that down. Like, this has been given to you. What are you going to do with this one precious day, this one precious life you've been given? I mean, kudos for following that. So with your family's history, here's a question. With your family's farming history, and you said, you wanted to allow your father to let that go and not feel the obligation to pass down the farm. How did that go with him?
I think it was tough at the beginning because he knew that the farming lineage was going to end, and as a family growing, and just think of it, any business, right? If all of a sudden you've built this thing up, like you've created this or you've sustained it, right, which is sometimes harder than creating, and you get to the point where, okay, are my kids going to do this? Are my kids going to do that? What I've done, is what I've done in my life good enough for my kids to want to do the same? That's kind of what I think that he was thinking, and in many ways it was. But I feel like it's more of a calming now that he knows that, I have a younger brother and an older sister, that we're okay, and he can relax, he can retire, you know what I mean? And a lot of times a family in the farming community, their retirement is selling off the machinery or renting out the land that they have so that they can kind of have a retirement. And I feel like it kind of took some pressure off of him and said, hey, I can actually retire now.
That's really good. I mean, that's to allow somebody that freedom. We talked about wealth and what it means to be rich. And the more and more as I get older, hit 50 and everyone's like, everything goes to heck. And I'm like, well, it's kind of really not really. It's cumulative abuse, first of all, from a physical standpoint. And secondly, you really start to look at this is the downhill slide. We are well into the downhill slide when I turn 50. And looking ahead thinking, do I what do I want my life to look like in 25 years and how do I invest in that today? And that does take some radical shifts and it takes some cutting things out of your life that aren't going to serve that any
Yep.
longer.
Simplify.
And that's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, the one and I watch I swear that like God is using Instagram, right? Or it's just the algorithms, right? But I feel like there's been so many things, the more stuff you watch on Instagram, right? It just keeps coming up or something like that comes up. And there's this one pastor that was on there, when I was talking about your complaint is your calling. And that's really what hit me the most. And I play it over and over and over. And I've also read the Ecclesiastes book in the Bible, like over and over and over, because it's just like God's like, my gift for you is to literally just eat, drink, and enjoy your toil. For one, that means get to work. And then two, enjoy it. And if you're not enjoying it, figure out what you can enjoy. And honestly, the best way to enjoy something that you love doing is do it in a way that's going to help other people. Because after a while, just like King Solomon said, he had everything. He had like, a bazillion wives, right? He had all the houses and everything, so you could gardens and whatever. And it's like, I have everything. Like, I don't know what else to do. And I'm still not the happiest, right? So it's giving back to other people and using your gifts because, the complaint is your calling. There's certain things that you don't realize not everybody complains about. It's it's something that God's put in your heart, and the one thing that you complain about the most is most likely your calling.
Let's hang on that because you got me there. Not everybody complains about the same things. Because when we feel an injustice or when we feel something in the world that we are called to change or just it really lights our fire, it's not everybody gives a crap.
It doesn't light everybody's fire. No, it's not on everybody's priority list.
In that sense, that never dawned on me. That's the second time in this past week that I've heard something that floored me. So simple, but floored me.
Yeah,
The first one was every job has an expiration date. That was life changing
yeah,
because I had that my big shift was the last 3 years have just been all shift. It's like all shift all the time.
yeah, yeah,
But but when you say that, not everybody complains. Not everybody's bothered by the same things, and that need to change it. If you don't express that and you don't change it, because there are other people who also want it changed, and they're like, "Well, I don't know how to change it." And you're like, "No, I did change it. Let me show you how."
right,
That's service.
right. And how selfish is it for you not to share that with other people, right?
Right. Yeah. Like if you have the answer to a problem and you say, I just really don't feel like you said, enjoying the toil. I don't really feel like I wouldn't be good enough, or I don't know where to start, or,
Hmm.
all of the excuses will make up to make ourselves feel safe, of course, because we're never really safe. We're never safe. We're floating at a rock in the middle of the sky, guys. We're not safe. Okay. It's just what it is.
Hmm.
Granted, don't think about it on a big scale, because if you really think about it, it'll freak you out. But we're never truly safe. We just have to create safe environments for our family, for ourselves, as much as we can within the confines of this physical world we live in. And if you have the answer to a problem, number one, like you said, you're not the only person with a problem. And number two, the thing that bothers you, if you can fix it, why wouldn't you help others?
Yeah. And my biggest problem now is because how obviously housing, it doesn't matter what it costs right now. Housing has always been expensive for everybody all the time. it's the most expensive thing that you can afford, right? And everybody's like, oh, well, high performance, does that mean it's, high end, or, because you're doing it healthy, it's going to cost more? I was like, it doesn't have to. But how about instead of spending 20 grand on faucets and things like that for your house, how about you spend that 20 grand on your HVAC system and get some fresh air into your home and manage that. Make sure you build your home airtight and manage the condensation. There's 4 layers of your home that you need to control: the air, the water, the vapor, and the thermal. So all those being put together and managed correctly, you can create a healthy home that you can be proud of. Your family will want to run to when they have allergies and everything going on. And they're not going to care that you don't have $1,000 faucet on your kitchen, right? They're going to care that you have a sanctuary that they can run to instead of like a pseudo mortuary that, people are trying to get away from. And there's a lot of people that don't believe this whole mold thing. They're just like, they think it's like some snake oil thing, witch hunt, whatever. If you go on Facebook, I challenge all your listeners, if you think this is crazy and you shouldn't be building a healthy home or focus on that or have a builder that does, go to Facebook and go to the groups, right? And just look up, just type mold, and there'll be all these groups, and just take like a day and look through all the crazy over the top stuff that these people are going through. And they've got tests to show too. Health dictates your marriage, right? It will really test you if you can stick with someone that has been like deathly ill for so long. It's hard, especially when you have kids and everything. So health is huge.
It is. And one of my past coaches used to say, and obviously there's nothing new to be said, right? When we hear things on a
Right, right, right.
podcast, it's, or from a coach, there's nothing new out there. It's just that you resonate with the person saying it. And
Exactly.
he said, if you have your health, you've got 99 problems. If you don't have your health, you have one.
Yeah, Tony Robbins had something like that,
Yeah,
didn't
something
he?
I knew I heard it because we all listen to the same people.
Yeah, I know. Well, whether he said or not, I have quoted him on my website, so that's one of the things on there,
Exactly, exactly. I just finished reading again Think and Grow Rich by
Great.
Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, yeah.
Just the last chapter is so good because it's pretty much it's life is choose your own adventure. Whatever you choose to focus on, if you're going to put in a $4,000 faucet, that literally 1% of the people are going to say, "Oh wow, that's a such and such faucet." The rest of them don't care. They care that they turn it on and the water comes out. That's
Right,
all.
right, right.
It's again where your priorities are.
Huh,
And
yeah.
shifting those priorities is super important. If you change what you look at and what your goal is, and it does come from a position of selflessness, because I actually had somebody ask me the other day on social media about physicians. We're getting a bad rap these days. It is what it is.
Hmm.
Somebody was like, "Well, I think I can't believe it's all about the money for you." And I said, why are doctors asked to incur $200,000 in student loans and then go to volunteer? Like,
Hmm.
I don't understand. Now, I'm also not a proponent of doctors making more than their value. And that's where I do have people help themselves decompress using their experience, using their knowledge, finding a calling like you've found, right? Where they can make extra money that's not trading a dollar for an hour for a dollar. It's a large number of dollars depending on your specialty, but you're still limited and you can only impact one person at a time versus we can't change the world one person at a time. Hmm. It's a little bit of a paradox. You can't change the world one person at a time, although you have to change the world one person at a time, and that first person has to be you.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Be, do, learn, right? I don't know if Robert Kiyosaki was the first one to say that or whatever, but yeah, you have to be the person, and the best way that you can be that person is to have a dream big enough, and everything just kind of falls into place. You put those glasses on, and it will filter everything else out, and all the hardships, all the crappy stuff that you got to go through, all the family health problems, all of your own health problems. It can all be solved by just not focusing on it and focusing on something else that is more of a higher calling that's helping other people. right? Because you can only help yourself so long, and then you're just like, okay, I don't really feel fulfilled anymore. You gotta switch that and be like, okay, who am I helping? And at that point, it's just like you're getting paid for getting people the results that they want. There's a lot of, like Dan says, there's a lot of rich people that do a lot of crappy stuff with their money, or don't help anybody with their money. If you have a problem with that, the best thing you can do is make more than them, buy them out, and do good with the money.
I agree 100%. I actually had somebody this morning on a public live I did say, the billionaires are out to get us. And I said, then become one.
Yeah.
If you want to build a rocket that goes to Mars, if you want to change the narrative. And I actually challenged her because I said, and Warren Buffett, he's the sweetest little man going. I mean, like the way he did things, I mean, he just started when he was young. And he built a legacy, and he built businesses, and he has a vision. Every one of these people has a vision. I mean, they're all human beings. Yes, we lose our way. She's like, but you, and it's funny, the language, because she actually said, or it was somebody else in there that said, you have to lie, steal, and cheat to be that rich. And that's when I brought up Warren Buffett. And I said, no. And that's a narrative you have. What if? Imagine having so
Living
much
in
money in
belief.
your bank account that you just plunk down 10 grand to your favorite charity on a random Tuesday because you want to. That
Yeah.
is free.
And I also challenge people that have that mindset, just like what Dan says, you will never become the person that you hate. So if you're wanting to even earn a little bit more money, it's not going to come to you because you hate people that have more money than you. And if you think that the rich people, like you look at all these people and you're like, oh, they're all these billionaires are out to get us, right? You become a billionaire, and before you even get close to becoming a billionaire, you will realize that you will not get any farther unless you are focused on helping other people in your business. And it's very easy for someone to say, oh, well, those are just bad people, because what that does most of the time is just helps those people that say that, give them some type of permission to not have to do the hard thing that they know that they probably should do to get to the higher level. It's an excuse.
Absolutely. And and as we wind down, that's exactly it. When you have a calling, but then you have that voice that comes in and says, "Yeah, but I can't chase this because my dad has a farm. I can't do this. I've got to pick up,
Hmm.
I can't walk through that open door I can see the world on the other side. I can see the sunshine. I can see
Hmm.
the possibility on the other side of that door, but I can't walk through it because if I walk through it, I'm going to become a jerk like those other rich people.
Hmm.
I'm going to let my family down because of X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to follow the path I thought I was supposed to follow when, holy cow, this door opens up over here.
Hmm.
Go through it. It's
Yeah.
open for a reason.
Or they have luggage, right? They use their reasons as excuses, and they say, well, I can't do this because I grew up farming. I can't do this because I don't have anybody. I'm not a fourth generation builder. I had to teach myself or learn everything myself. I can't do this because my wife is sick and I just have to be home all day and I can't do anything. So I'm just going to have to take care of her. I can't do anything. I have to go get a regular, job.
Job.
I don't know who's going to take care of the kids. Like, all these excuses can pile up, but they're also things that can propel you to your purpose. And it's just that mind shift of how much are you willing to chase your dream and help other people.
I think that is an absolutely perfect statement. So if somebody does want to build a healthy home, start growing a healthy home, where can they find you for information, and what can they do today to make a difference?
First of all, the best thing that they can do to get a hold of me, they can go to the website. The website is plhexclusives.com. The second best place to get a hold of me is on Instagram. My Instagram handle is my name, David Auerbach. I just started that in, I think it's October, right when I had to start doing 3 reels a day with Dan, right? So I'm pretty new to that. I've really focused a lot, and I'm going to be going deep with Instagram before I start going wide with a lot of other platforms. So, but the best way to get a hold of me is if you guys have questions. I have a form on the website that you can fill out, and it gives me all the information, and it kind of dives a little deeper into what certain things that you might have going on. Just fill all that out, and we can book a consultation to see if we can either build, fix, or create a healthy, high performance home.
Awesome. Such good words today. Thank you so much, David, for hanging
I
out.
appreciate you having me on. This is great.
Yes, lots of fun. And so the listeners, go to David Auerbach on Instagram so he can get lots of followers, get all the
Yes,
information you can.
I have a goal to get 1,000 followers by Easter, and I had to reset that a couple times. So now it's Easter, right?
But see, now it's Easter, and here we go. So let's get David to
Yeah.
his 1,000 as soon
I'm
as
doing I'm
humanly
trying to do it the
possible.
right way too. I'm doing it
Oh
with
yeah,
good
we're
stuff,
not.
not just like, oh, hey, look at this and follow me, and then you get up.
No, follow David because he's got great information, a great soul, and the best reason to do something in your life to create more value, and that's to create more value for others.
I appreciate it. Yep. Central Illinois, Northern Wisconsin. If you're anywhere else in the U.S., we can also help with that too. I
Perfect.
just probably need to qualify you a little bit more for for going
Before we
across the
pass
state.
that
But
off, yes,
yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. I'm working with someone in California, but it's a little bit of a different deal.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So for the listeners, we will see you next episode. And make sure you check out the past episodes to see if there's anything there that can grab you.
For sure. All right. Appreciate it, Dr. Mo.